Well, he's number 4, so we can get rolling, and we have enough people for quorum. And then I did not have any action item. Wait, no, yes, I did. Where did the minute? Okay. Oh, sorry, my minutes were on the other screen. Okay.
Deborah, I accidentally muted you, and I was trying to mute myself. I'm sorry. I accidentally muted you. Do you know how to unmute yourself? Oh no. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
So our action items from the last meeting, I emailed the bylaws to Heather after the meeting, and they're posted on the website now for everyone to review if you would like. And then I sent out the 2021 schedule. And then Heather, if you see any conflicts like as they're coming, so we check for the year, but if something comes up, you can just let us know. And then I reminded everyone of the election of the chair, vice chair, and secretary occurring today. All right, so it looks like we got those. Move to approve the November 2nd, 2020 meeting minutes. Does anyone have any other comments on the meeting minutes?
I think it looks good. I'll motion to accept.
Thanks, Will. And thank you for writing them, Heather. And then we do a vote. Do we need to do a vote on this? We did it in the minutes.
I believe so.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Is anybody?
We need a second.
I do need a second. So Will was a first. Do we have a second on the vote?
I first, and then Will second it.
Okay.
And then everyone is thumbs upping or raising their hand if they're a yay. So if you're a yay, somehow show some kind of.
Jessica,
good.
I can't vote because I'm an ex officio.
Right.
Yeah, decided to let you know.
Okay, thank you. And then Randy, were you show? Okay, good. All right, so it looks like we got everybody showed one of their appendage hands or a cartoon one. And then just for completeness, is anyone a nay? And then Chris, I think you'll have to do verbal since you are a phone icon.
Yeah, I'm a yay.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, hey, that went like so well. Okay, so election of officers. Heather, how do we do this? Do we nominate other people present or not? Like what's the rule here?
I wouldn't say that there's necessarily a rule. You can discuss it first if you want and then nominate. And then so if someone wanted to nominate yourself, then they would just say, I nominate Jessica, and then there would be a first and then a second, and then I'll take roll call, I guess.
Okay, so right now we don't have a vice chair. We've never had one as long as I've been here, and Quinn is the secretary, and her last month is June. She's graduating, so she'll be off in June. So we have two that only one of them's held by Sir. Heather writes the meeting minutes very graciously. So if you volunteer or agree to be secretary, you have rather minimal duties as outlined in the bylaws. Okay.
Unless you want to really take those over.
Well, I just wanted someone to feel free, like they could volunteer and it wouldn't be like a major commitment on their life.
I'll volunteer.
Okay, thanks, Will. Which one are you interested in?
Oh, I should clarify. Secretary would be great.
Okay. I would be willing to
wherever you need me.
Okay, wherever you need me, Coach. Okay, I would be okay with carrying on as chair but we will need one more person who is interested in either the vice chair or secretary, whichever one that Will is not. If anybody moves, they're gonna get called. Oh, Lindsay and Todd both moved their faces. Either of you interested? I saw like twitches possibly of the. No, Todd thinks it was somebody else. All right, okay. Tony, Randy, what do you guys think?
Oh,
I think Rick would be a good option for vice chair.
Poor Rick. How about
That's
Aaron?
what happens when you don't show up.
Aaron, I think you've been here longer than me.
Rick's not even here to defend himself. That's a great
I
option.
know. I did mention in my email when I told him that I would propose he was excused that he may get an assignment on his return.
I do think it is a kind of a great thing to have, like, institutional memory. So if Aaron wouldn't mind, I think it would make a great vice chair.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, what do you say, Aaron, vice chair, or you could probably negotiate with Will for secretary.
Oh, I'll be vice chair.
Okay, all right. So it seems like the people are currently running somewhat unopposed. All right. So you guys want to do a ticket together and we'll just vote one time. So I'll be vice chair and then, or sorry, I'll be chair, Will vice, and Aaron secretary. Is that what you said? Was that the fun? No, did Aaron say vice?
Yes. Aaron's
Okay,
vice.
Aaron
Correct.
vice, Will secretary. All right. All in favor of that, show a hand or a thumbs up.
You need to make a motion?
Yeah.
Oh, I would like to make a motion for those three people on the things that I said, and I'm not going to say it again because I'll mess it up. I'm writing it down.
I
I'll
second.
second it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I have a 9-0 vote on all.
We got to hear Chris's vote.
Oh.
I'm good. I'm good with both.
Okay. All right. So it looks like we passed unanimously, and Aaron and Will take a look at the bylaws either in your email or on the website or in the welcome packet that I sent in December. It's part of that also, and you can take a look-see at your responsibilities.
Here comes
Okay.
Rob.
Now I thought I saw Rob in the background
Coming.
of Greg's screen.
There he is.
Yes, he's going to be
Hey.
joining.
He came into the
Just
office.
in time. And then if you want to unmute.
I'm trying. It's not going.
Okay. And then, hi Rob, welcome. Thank you for coming to our meeting tonight. I have an item for you to go over the summary of last year's work and what you have planned for this year. So whatever you've got, you can take it away.
All right. Well, first off, thank you so much for allowing me to have the opportunity to talk about things that we not only accomplished last year, but I think things that people will hopefully be excited about for 2021. And start off with covering the details of what we accomplished, I feel like, last year in our department, in Parks Department. And then I'll get through my list, and then I'll go through kind of what the plans are for 2021. And if I can get through it, it's kind of long. I apologize, maybe 5-10 minutes of conversation if you don't mind me taking up some of your time, because I appreciate all of your time, and thank you for volunteering and doing such a great job. So we'll start off kind of, we added a staff person last year in the Parks Department. Plan is to add another staff member in our Parks Department. As you know, probably better than anyone, how much we've grown as a city here in the last 5, 6, 10 years. I've lived here for the last 30 years and understand the growth. So it was nice to see that the city was able to support our department in adding additional person this year and next year. So start off with that. That was accomplished in 2020, and then we also have planned to add another staff member in 21. With regards to parks in 2020, we painted the Municipal Park, Riverside, Woodland Park shelter houses, replaced all the gable ends with new siding. So virtually all the shelter houses throughout the park system was painted last year, so that was a great accomplishment. I can't really speak, and Greg may know the exact date the last time those were painted, but I'm guessing a little over 10 years plus since the last time they were painted. We purchased a new remote hillside mower to provide safer conditions while mowing steep banks throughout the city. For example, at Riverside Park is a perfect example. The sledding hill at Rivercrest, some of the steep areas that have been hazards in the past, we were able to purchase a hillside mower last year. So we're excited about that new piece of equipment that makes it safer for our staff. We replaced all the fencing on the tennis pickleball courts and poured pads for all the new bleachers in Municipal Park. So as you've probably had a chance to see in Municipal Park, all the fencing around that pickleball and tennis ball courts are new. We also poured pads. You may remember all the bleachers were sitting in grassy areas. And to me, it just didn't make sense to do that, to clean up not only the look, but for purposes of mowing and string trimming around those areas. I thought it would make sense to put them all on pads. So we did that at Municipal Park. We created a new dock layout at Hood Park. Some of you may have noticed that. In the past, they had extended the dock that went out at Hood Park quite a ways out into the river, and often it held all the debris that floated downstream. So we were able to extend the length of it and shorten the distance out into the river, and it was extremely effective last year in not catching a lot of the debris. So the boat club debris kind of broke loose off the boat club's docks, and then they missed our docks and floated downstream. So it was a little thing, but it was a big thing to us, because often we were having to use our staff to go out there and break up the debris off of those docks. We installed a new outfield fence and foul poles at Meyer Field. If those of you have seen the baseball field there, now we are back to a state-of-the-art conditions at Meyer Field. We're excited about this year's baseball season for the folks that utilize that. We installed new roofs on Meyer Field dugouts and painted them. I can't tell you the last time those were done, but we cleaned up that look and also cleaned up the building behind Meyer Field, painted all those, so gave those all a fresh new look. Replaced park restroom doors at Three Meadows and Woodlands Park. We repaired grassy area at Meyer Field along the service road and installed drainage tiles, so that hopefully will hold up a lot better this spring. And we're keeping parking traffic off of that. We've got some thoughts about what we might do in the future to add some additional parking in that area, but it's been easy in the past just to pull up on that service road and then just destroy the area underneath those trees. So we've kind of replanted that and cleaned that area up. It looks a lot better along the baseball field, but I'm sure some wish there was parking right there. We painted parking lot stripes at Hood Park lower area, at Rotary also. Installed new benches at Rivercrest and Three Meadows parks. We cleaned up brush along walkways at Orleans Park. We poured pads and installed new shades at Lower Riverside Park. Added stone to walks at Bicentennial and Woodlands Park. We installed new, we call them mutt mitts signage in all the parks, so people know where to get the little bags for the dog waste. Installed fencing around large trees at Orleans Park to save from beaver damage. That was Greg's idea. I got to give him credit. The beavers were doing some damage down there, if you've noticed. And Greg's idea was to put fencing around those trees, and it actually worked. So I'm sure the beavers will move downstream and destroy somebody else's trees.
They have.
Yeah.
The Wood Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on them. We'll do our best to protect our trees, the ones that need to be protected. Installed new signage at Riverside Park, identifying prairie areas. Judy got some of those new signs put up at, I call it, not the lower area at Riverside, but the upper area. We repaved Woodlands parking lot, increased parking spaces by 10, so cleaned up that whole look of that park, as well as added the entrance lanes that you may remember, the trees that were kind of didn't look so good and weren't healthy at the entrance of Woodlands Park. We removed those, repaved that entrance lane, and also the parking lot added 10 spaces. We purchased, this is again talking about 2020, we purchased and will be installing touch-free light switches, water faucets, and flush valves for urinals, commodes, and all the park restrooms in an effort to go hands-free and provide safer conditions for our residents and guests. Three Meadows Pond, even during a COVID year, we hosted the annual fishing derby. I thought it was pretty effective. We repaired concrete sidewalks there as well. Installed new carpeting and painting throughout at the rec building. For those of you that haven't been in the rec building, hopefully we'll all get in the rec building this year. That is the plan, but we completely renovated that whole interior by putting new carpet in and painting every room in there and cleaning it up and adding LED lighting at the rec building. So that looks 1,000 times better. And you know, and I'm happy to report we accomplished quite a bit. We fittingly around here talk about how 2020 was the year of the parks for us in our department, because we really focused on cleaning up a lot of the park areas while we were faced with COVID. I mean, we lost quite a few hours. I don't, getting an echo background. Anybody else getting that? I apologize if you're getting it. You're getting an echo. I can kind of hear.
I'm hearing an echo.
Maybe everybody else mute their screens. It's probably feedback from the unmuted people.
Yeah, so if everyone who knows how to mute, can they mute? Guess I should say everyone who knows how to mute and unmute.
It looks like Greg just closed his door. I think Greg and Rob, are you
Yeah,
off
we'll see if that helps.
together?
Very good. Yeah, we're a couple doors down from each other. Thank you.
So that should probably help.
It sounds better. Thank you. So last year during COVID, we lost roughly, we closed down our department for a couple of weeks very early on in March when the outbreak happened. So we lost quite a few hours initially, a couple of weeks worth, and then we staggered our staff's hours for the next month and a half. So I guesstimated we lost about 1,000 hours starting off the spring, which is the most important time to get parks ready and mow and do all the things that we need to do. But I don't think we got behind. I thought we did a pretty good job of managing that even during those difficult times. And based on everything that was going on, we didn't hire our summer help last year because there was some reduction in park services, like we didn't open our rec building, but we still maintained trash pickup during those periods. Although I don't think the parks got as much use because everybody was pretty scared, especially early on in April, May, and June, but it did pick up. But what happens, we lost roughly 4,000 of our typical summer help hours during those months. So what that meant is our existing staff picked up some of the things that summer help do over the summer. So all in all, I felt like, it's all things that we'll find, and there's things that are going to have a nightly basis when people use the parks, which is a good thing. And I think we're starting to experience extreme increase in park usage this year because there's a lot of pent up demand and excitement about getting out, using parks again. And I think we're prepared for that. We did our refuse pickups 6 days a week right now, but we're monitoring that, and we typically don't start weekend trash pickup until the end of April, but anticipating increased usage in the park, so we've ramped up that service as well. So talking a little bit about 2021, unless there's some questions about 2020, and we can circle back when I get done if you like. But that's kind of a quick snapshot of everything that we feel like we accomplished in 2020 and our goals and plans for 2021. I'll cover those now if you'd like. And since having 3 light switches, water faucets, and flush valves for the urinals and commodes in all of our park restrooms in an effort to go hands-free completely, other than door handles where you can still get in by using your elbow or your foot. To get into those park restrooms, we are now providing safer conditions for anybody that uses those. So we have a pretty much hands-free park restroom situation. Over the winter, we built 13 new park kiosks. We're installing those parks identified below. I'll go through those individually by each. We put on removed olds, etc. We wanted to clean. There was a blight. You walk into a park, don't park here, don't do this, don't do that, and they're difficult to mow around and big dead spots. So we thought to clean up, look at the parks, we would put 1 kiosk out, take any important signage for that particular park, and then post it on the kiosk. Those are all installed now throughout the park system. So we're excited about that change. We are planning and have already requested, and it's been approved, to purchase the new chipper to ranch. It will be done for free in our parks. We have an open in our fleet, right, and downs and more more work will be completed, obviously, because of a new chipper. Plan is to run, and we're just our brush pickup now. We obviously do snow plowing in the winter as needed, and we also do leaf pickup in the fall. But as time allows, we hope to run 2 crews to better maintain our park trees as well as our street trees. People don't realize this. We have roughly 15,000 trees in the city of Perrysburg. It's a very daunting task to manage those. So our plan now is to stay focused on ramping up our efforts in tree work, and we've done a pretty good job. Last year, we trimmed about 1,000 trees throughout our parks and our city streets. So we're pretty excited about that. I think that's the most we've done in quite a long time. So our focus is to work on trees. Purchased a new bucket truck. This truck will allow us to change out our park lights and trim trees where we couldn't reach in the past. So it goes. Greg can quote me if I'm wrong, but I think we can reach now 65 feet up in the sky.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be able to change our lights that go out in pickleball courts and or ball fields, and we can also trim trees up in areas now that we couldn't do before. And we have budgeted roughly $15,000 in park in the park budget for sealing parking lots and multi-use paths. Since we did a good job of catching up with a lot of the parking lots last year in terms of seal coating them, we plan to start to address some of the multi-use paths too. It's time now that we resurface or actually slurry seal some of those as well. So I don't really have the definites yet in which parks we're going to address, but we got most of them done last year. So we'll do the balance this year and start to concentrate on the multi-use paths to clean up the look of those. So now I'll go park by park. Kind of the plans. Bicentennial, add stone on walkways in Bicentennial. Remove the U's at the park sign and plant daylilies. We've got some plans that we hope. They're not definite yet, but we're talking about removing and replacing the park or the signage at the city entrances on Route 20 and Route 25. We also hope to address all of our park signs with that same look, which is a stone look, so replace all our park entrance signs. My hope is that we can get that done yet this year. Not sure of that yet. If we don't get it done this year, we'll do it next year, but that's kind of what we're thinking about, sort of freshen up the looks or the entryways of all of our parks. Back to Bicentennial, we added clean fill dirt in all the low areas to improve drainage. We removed all the old ballards to clean up the parking areas, and there was some unfortunate damage. It wasn't our vehicle. Somebody ran over those new areas that we cleaned up just the other day, so we've got tire tracks, and we'll have to clean those areas up. We installed 3 new kiosks at Bicentennial to display all the park rules. Davis Overlook, we overseeded the meadows. We are installing new park rule signage there as well. Eisenhower, we have already replaced the 4-way rocking teeter-totter. We'll also be installing a new park rule sign and kiosk at Eisenhower. Hood Park, plans are to replace the flagpole. Some discussion about where we might relocate that new flagpole. It's kind of right in the center of a walkway. We've got 3 or 4 selection spots that we may entertain rather than replacing it at its old existing spot. Plan is to freshen up the landscaping at the entrance at Hood Park. We also will install new park rule signage, replacing the old portalette corral, we call it, down at the bottom of Lower Hood Park. The old white fencing that was around our portalette has since been very tired and now is going to be retired and replaced with new corral fencing around that. We also repaired and will be replacing 2 our park benches at the river that used to be there and were damaged, I believe, from the ice flow a few years ago. So moving on to Milestone, we're removing the dying lilac bushes and planting bridal wreath spirea is the plan at the entrance. Continue to remove invasive plant material, and we may plant some spruce trees in some of the areas that we remove some of the invasive plants at Milestone. Municipal Park, installed additional fencing at Meyer Field, as I mentioned. We completed most of that project last year, but we also installed some new fencing yet this year, so that Meyer Field is now complete. Plan is to install drainage tile at Field 35 to improve wet areas. is that 3 and 5, Greg, or 35, do we call that?
Field 5, yeah, is the worst, over by the pool area.
Yeah. Orland Park, working on a plan for the parking lot. We may repave that yet this year. Plan includes paving that and meeting some city code and make sure we install some islands and plant material trees and so on in the islands. But we're working on plans to repave Orland's parking lot. Installed 2 new kiosks already. They'll display all park rules. Areas on the drive into the river. Somebody had mentioned an email down some trees. Basically what we did, ballards on the side, we removed the old species material there. It was encroached over the top of the ballards, hiding up our signage and cars that drove through there. So the play is clean. We didn't take trees out, junk trees. So we took out a maple tree, or we worked around all those areas, cleaned up the look of it. You can have enough time to do it before the baseball season starts this spring, where the grass can see properly. So we're going to address that this fall. The work on fields 2, 3, 4 started today. Installed 3 new kiosks that will display new park rules. Riverside, some of you probably are aware of this. We're of that those cannons. Somebody stole down at Riverside Park, but it was us who removed them, and they were refurbished, and we're all building new cannon stands, the replicas of the original cannon stands, wood, and we have 2 carpenters start work. Are installing new sidewalks at 3 Meadows Pond. We removed all the old broken up sidewalk and planted turf grass. Rules. We removed the old AT&T poles. We had asked them for months to please remove their poles. We no longer had payphones. We just got tired of waiting on them, so we took them out ourselves. We installed a new donated park bench at the playground. We will also be adding another coat of stain to the bridge. We did stain that bridge last year. Some of you may not notice that because it kind of blends in. It looks a little bit better, but we know we need to add another coat of stain on that bridge. We also repaired that safety spot that was on the bridge walk. Woodlands, we removed all invasive plant material at Woodlands Park, if you haven't been out there. And we're also going to start working on and repairing the old covered benches. Some we'll have to remove, some we'll repair. We planted 28 new spruce trees throughout the park to better protect park goers utilizing the paths from errant frisbees and improve overall aesthetics. In some of those areas that we removed all the invasive species, all that underbrush that held poison ivy and some of the other things that we felt created an eyesore in that park. We removed all that and installed 28 spruce trees just this last week. So cleaned up the look of that park, and we're also using those those spruces to hopefully deflect any errant frisbee tossers and protect better the walkers and joggers that utilize the path. We will be adding new tee pads and rock benches at the Woodlands Frisbee Golf Course. We're also going to be repositioning some of the pads that might encourage people to throw them closer to the paths. So that's kind of a safety thing. So we walked the course last week, and we've identified a plan that we can address most of those things yet this year to improve a better and safer playing course for the frisbee throwers. We are also going to be installing concrete pads and eventually lighting the park sculpture project that is going to be completed by August. So there'll be 12 sculptures in that park, and they'll be lit. We hydro-seeded area, or will be hydro-seeding the areas around the new parking lot. We just regraded all that area and cleaned that look up around the parking lot. We installed 2 new kiosks that'll display all the park rules at Woodlands entrance. Some of the things that we've done at the swimming pool, or we're going to be doing at the swimming pool now that we're going to be open this year, with some restrictions, obviously that we'll follow, or the YMCA will follow for us. But we're going to replace the appliances at the swimming pool. Public rec, plan is to open that if things don't get worse, we have a plan A and a plan B. Plan B is the virtual plan, but right now we are going to plan to open up the rec center with our plan A, which means we'll have limited activities. Most of them will be outdoors, but we're not going to be completely virtual this year. So lastly, I think we're very aware that there's an increase in park usage, and it'll create more trash. It'll create more repair work and care. We will be relying heavily this year. We have already hired our seasonal summer staff. Most of those will start in June, but what I did, we have a staff budget. What Greg and I have decided to do is we're bringing a couple people back earlier in the year when the workload is heavier in the spring, and then reduce the budget later in the year when really the park activity dies down as kids get back into school and people get busy with other things in the fall. Just a reminder that the Great American Cleanup started and scheduled at all the parks. This Saturday they started and had some great success at a couple of the parks at Hood and Riverside, and I think they had record trash pickup. That's a good and a bad thing. That means people are leaving their trash in the parks, and the good news is we actually picked up all the trash that was left there. And I mentioned plan to replace the 2 gateway signs at Route 20 and Maumee Western Reserve entrance. And I think that covers everything. But again, we're very aware that on a nightly basis, people are going to use the parks. They're going to leave trash. We clean the parks. We're currently cleaning them 6 days a week. We could clean them, at noon, and then 2 o'clock somebody comes out and has an event and doesn't pick up their trash or leaves a ridiculous amount of trash in the parks, and then we have to clean it the next day. But I just want you to be aware that we are beefing up our efforts this year in anticipation of increased park usage. It's already been evident, so we'll probably move that to 7 days a week as weather allows. So if we see good weather weekends in the month of April, we'll probably increase that to 7 days a week. On rainy weekends or cold temperature weekends, we'll probably keep it at 6. And then once we get into May, we usually are ramped up to 7-day week service. And I think that's all I have, Greg, unless I missed something.
I wasn't sure if you mentioned that the bathhouse at the pool was also painted this last fall.
Oh, that's right. The whole interior. We thank you, Greg, for pointing that out. We painted the entire inside, and we replaced all the lighting with new LED lighting. Replaced the drainage on the floor drains that were all rusted out. So we thank you, Greg, for pointing that out. That whole interior of that pool looks fantastic now. So we're ready to open up this year. And I think that's it, Greg. Anything else?
No, it sounds like you covered everything.
I'm sorry if that took up longer than you wanted to give me, but I felt like it was important to recognize all the things that we do and have done last year. We were excited. We thought we had a great year in the parks last year, and we think this year is going to be even better, and we're excited about making sure we stay focused on parks.
That was great. Thanks so much, Rob. Does anyone have any questions for Rob about any of the report?
Rob, I have a question. Oh, Will, go ahead. Go ahead, Will.
Oh, the shelter houses, are those going to be reservable, or are they reservable now?
Good question. We're not officially, it's so day to day with COVID, unfortunately, and now there's an uptick in the numbers again. So I think the governor's, I just heard something on the 6 o'clock news tonight that the governor's going to release an update tomorrow. And
so are we making that decision based on a directive from the governor, or is this our decision?
It's both. It's CDC guidelines, and we're also following the governor's guidelines. We're going to make a decision by May 1st on what we're going to do. We're kind of watching it.
The other kind of ties into that, how restrooms, public restrooms. I know you're working on the project, so it probably really depends on your installation.
Well, we're done. We're actually, I'm excited to announce we're done with that. I think what we're waiting on there, the current guidelines require you to clean them every hour on the hour. And we just
I kind of wonder what, and I only bring that up only because, like, I've been to, side cut across the river, and their restrooms are open. I don't know what their cleaning schedule is, but
yeah, I can't speak to what they're doing either. But I know that the current guidelines suggest you have to clean them once an hour, which we just can't staff that 24/7.
certainly not.
Yeah, so I hope that they open. I hope there's some better news that we get from the governor, but we're kind of following the CDC and governor guidelines at this point.
Just
not kind of, we are.
With increased park usage and stuff, I think it's necessary. I know it's kind of seems like I think we should open, but that's just
Thank you. Yep.
thanks. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Rob, I had one question for you.
Sure.
You mentioned the parks that were near the river, Orleans and Riverside and Hood. What's going to be done to take care of the wetlands that has been removed from those areas? Will that be replaced?
You know, specifically which areas, wetlands?
Wetlands are all along the river's edge that help keep the river up, the land up near the river.
I'm not aware of any plans to address wetland areas.
I know that the state of Ohio had a plan. In fact, they were going to do it all around the state of Ohio along public areas. I was wondering if there was a plan for us.
I'm not aware of one for us. Yeah. I don't have that. I'm sorry, I don't have that update.
Yeah. I know there was a grant opportunity for restoration of wetlands and that, but you know, I don't know if we would even qualify for something like that. But yeah, I'm not aware of anything either.
It'd be great if we could.
I'll make that note and I'll look into it.
Thank you, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Greg.
I do have one more thing I almost forgot. I've been really enjoying walking around down to Riverside and stuff. And I think there, when you guys do add those signs to those kiosks, I know there are probably other signs about the leash law or I guess untethered dogs. I've seen a lot of people walking their dogs without leashes in the parks and just in around town anyway. So I know it's a bigger issue than just in a park. And I know sometimes people don't read signs anyway. So I just hope to see some more visible signage or something. I don't know, but I feel like I've seen more and more people walking their dogs, and I have to throw my own like age group under the bus. I see a lot of people of my age doing it, and it really bugs me.
Well, I can address it. We actually put signage up at all our baseball fields.
And I appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, I saw those because I live just a couple blocks from Municipal, and I saw it. My wife and I saw it on there, and we have 2 kids. But we see these people walking their dogs, and we know most of them are good dogs, but they're still animals, and they, makes people nervous.
I mean, if we have to, we'll also add it to those kiosks. I think we did actually. There's some language on our signage that addresses it. I think it's last bullet.
Yeah, in the general park rules, I believe. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it just seems like it's becoming a bigger and bigger issue. I just see more and more people doing it.
Yeah, I don't think we have enough time to talk about personal responsibility tonight.
Right. I almost yelled at somebody the other day. I was like, oh, good.
Yeah, I'd love to go back to those days.
Can I jump in with a question, Rob?
Sure.
So did you say that the Orleans parking lot will be paved, as in with asphalt?
We're currently working on a plan. First, we have to come up with a plan for that parking lot, but our plan is to repave it, or to pave it. Not repave it, but to pave it.
Okay. So I'll make an observation, which is that I'm in an echo here somehow, but it seems like there's a lot of resources being put in to support, say, the fishermen, meaning that there's a ton of access points along the river that have, like the Davis Overlook has a really nice parking lot there that's used pretty sparingly. Fort Meigs just has a new parking lot put in last year that even now when, at the height of Wally Run, it's most maybe half full. And so if we're gonna pave Orleans Park, I don't know that there's that much of a demand outside of maybe the 6 weeks right now for like that sort of an expense, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, I know what you're saying. I would encourage, take a look at Davis. In fact, I drove by there today. This weekend it was packed. There's not enough parking spots down at Davis. In fact, today it was packed. I mean, one could argue that that is a seasonal business down there for sure. But we think that if we pave that, it would encourage more park usage, because if you've ever driven down, it's almost to the point where it can be damaging to your car. So we kind of think if we clean that all up, we'll make encourage more parking down there. we've increased our kayak programs down there now. So our plan is to address up what we think is an eyesore area, maybe to encourage more park usage. A fair enough question though, Todd.
I think Todd makes a valid point. I agree with you, Todd. And I don't see why we just can't plug the potholes, right? And they've been plugged for years, and there hasn't been any problem. And the area often floods, just so you know, Rob.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be great to have it paved. But again, it's like you'd mentioned, it's very seasonal. I don't know if, like, I don't have a good sense of where those fishermen are coming from. Are they mostly Perrysburg residents? Probably not. Are they really helping our economy? Probably not. So I don't know. I would petition to, spend those resources elsewhere. If we're going to pave something, maybe pave the walking trail at Woodlands or something like that, that we know that the majority of folks there are Perrysburg residents. Not you're not doing great work. It seems like there's a lot of resources into supporting access points to the river that are drive down building park comes out of the year, and there's one there, right? So maybe that'll check. It's just my observation.
Man, because I'm gonna. Eventually, when we can put that up, and the new path that goes right under Fort Meigs, like that is a gorgeous, gorgeous trail, and it's too bad not, too many people don't know about it. Like, I think we've got a nice little jewel there, and if we can highlight it and make our parks, all of our parks, beautiful, we're all going to be better for it. So.
Yep, I understand and respect all your opinions.
I think it's great too. I really like that new path that goes under the bridge in Conan. It would be amazing, and I think that it would be worthwhile to have that the parking lot paved if that continued, because it's so short right now as it is from Fort Meigs. So I mean, if that was continued all the way to say Hood Park, right, where there's like a grassy kind of muddy-ish trail right now. I think that would make more sense as well, to just continue that trail all the way to Hood would be amazing.
Okay.
Any other questions for Rob? Oh,
I had a couple of quick ones. Rob, you mentioned the rec building when you were talking. What is that?
In Municipal Park, the building that we use for recreational activity for our summer rec program.
Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other comment was on, you said you're going to move some of the tee pads for the disc golf course at Woodlands. Were you able to get input from a lot of the players there, or is that something that just your crew kind of went out and made estimates about?
Yeah, well, I've been around a long time. I actually walked the golf course because I've been in the golf business I spent my first 25 years in the golf business, so I kind of understand golf. But first we got so I actually walked the course with 3 of them last week, and we came up with a plan.
Okay, perfect. I just want to be sure that you had some players to give some input.
Good question.
Thanks.
Good, all right. And if anyone thinks of anything, we've got Rob on our email distribution, so you can, if we somehow come up with another question we can ask. All right, so I've got park reports. Oh, did someone say Jessica? Yeah? Oh, it's me, sorry, echoing. Okay, so the first one is Quinn. I don't have a park report from Quinn. Heather, I can follow up with her. Rick's right here. His question was about the schedule for resurfacing the multi-use path. And Rob, I will send him where you mentioned that the plan this year was to do some sealing and repaving of the multi-use paths. His request was river. is starting to show some signs of wear. Okay, next I've got Will for Riverside and
All right, so I'll start with Milestone. Milestone looks fine. It's still there, so it's doing great. Everything looks good. Riverside, like I was mentioning, like my wife and I like taking walks a lot, and we've been going down to Riverside, and it looks very sharp. So excited about seeing people walking there. Every time we go, there's at least like 20 or so people, and that's just one point in the day. So that's exciting to see that it's being used that much, especially on very nice days. These last few weeks have been just like perfect there. It's good to see all the activity just going on. And I'm excited to see what happens with the plants and the native species being cultivated there and everything. So looking forward to see what happens. No, that's it. Oh, and I have to say the zoo signs that were posted on the hill, those look really good, man. I think it was last year that they were kind of broken, and the new ones look fantastic. They look really sharp along the ramp. So, yeah,
Thank you.
great job.
all right, thanks, Will. And next is Orleans Park, which is me, and I emailed out some pictures. Greg, did you see my note? Graffiti under the bridge. I think they over previous over graffiti, so they meant it. And there were so many people down over the weekend that were walking, biking. When they spotted me put their dogs back on the leash, I wasn't holding a clipboard, but I think I give off the vibe. The canoe and kayak racks were mostly empty, but it looked like they had just gotten moved back into their position, possibly. And then I took a picture. I was not able to identify the invasive species, so I take it back of the trees plowed down, and the invasive species were beat back into wood chips. And then I also sent out a sign of one of the kiosks at Orleans Park that looks really nice, and someone also lost their eyeglasses there. And then you could look and see that there is a dogs kept on leash note there, which is I guess why the people scrambled to get their old dog back on the leash when they saw me. Okay, so next I've got Chris for Municipal Park.
Yeah, I went and looked at the park last week. The only thing I can say is everything looks great. Baseball, basketball, pickleball, bike racks look great. I don't know what to do, Greg. You're not leaving me much here to work with. I guess
That's good,
I'm going to
Chris.
start picking. I'm going to start picking on getting a heater for the pool. How's that sound?
Okay. I think that's been brought up a few times over the years.
Couple times.
Yeah.
But that's all I got, man. As always, your guys do a great job.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Chris.
And then next I got Randy, Woodlands Park.
Yes. So I visited the park several times by myself or with my dog. Every time when I visit, there's a lot of kids playing in the playground. I see a lot of people running or with their dogs. A little bit with frisbee golf. The only thing that I sent pictures with is there's a few benches I saw that looked kind of sad, and there's one that was, I don't know how the metal post got so slanted, but Rob did hit on that they were gonna go in and replace several. So that pretty much already answered my question. Other than that, I know there's crews. When I went a few times, they were fixing around the new paved parking lot. I know there's clumps of dirt. I know eventually those will be fixed when sod, and they're still putting in, I think some of the signage and then the sculptures. So I think it's just a matter of time until we get caught up with landscaping. Other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you very much. And next I've got Lindsay for Eisenhower Park.
Eisenhower looks good. Hopefully it'll get some more use this year. I feel like last year there weren't as many people there because of COVID. But I don't have anything to report there. I mean, it's super clean right now. The new equipment looks nice still. One thing I did want to mention, this isn't my park, but you wouldn't know unless you go with a little kid there, but Ford Imagination at Woodlands, one of the fences around the like little kids park is completely ripped off, like the door is. So I just wanted to give a heads up.
Okay, one of the gates there.
Yeah, it's like completely off the hinges now. So
Okay, thank you.
Yep. That's it.
Thanks, Lindsay. And then Aaron for Hood Park.
I was down there this afternoon, and I really don't have a whole lot to report. Hood Park looks great. The bulbs are coming up. There's minimal brush. The hedges are well trimmed. The Perrysburg boathouse is near completion. Looks like this has some siding to put up. So everything looks great.
Great, thank you. And Tony, Three Meadows.
Greg, this one's going to be a little bit different than the last. You remember? The park is looking good. The erosion is going to be great when they're finished with it. There's going to be, I think, a boat dock, a place to launch canoes or whatever. It's looking really, really good. I think there's going to be some sidewalk replacements around the shelter house, if I'm correct.
Yep.
The drainage tile is in. I remember that small pond flooded about 3 years ago, killed all the grass, whatever. There've been a lot of people using the shelter house and been leaving a really big mess. And I emailed Greg, and the next day it's cleaned up, so I appreciate that. It looks really nice. I'm going to volunteer to pick up trash in this park, if that's okay with you people. And there's usually not much trash. It's just the shelter house that they really mess up. And this weekend,
isn't that amazing?
candy smashed on the floor, eggs smashed. It was pop bottles all over, or whatever. But I didn't see any alcohol, so that's a good sign. And I do have a question. What's going to happen to those big dirt piles on the east side of the pond? I mean,
some of them are actually probably being used with that erosion. And we're going to do some filling in, you know, even on the backside, you know, when we can. So a lot of that will be used up, and what isn't used, well, you know, we'll haul away.
Yeah, we're going to do some mounding there, Tony, along the bank side, and probably plant some trees and clean up that look on the backside, as Greg mentioned. We'll use most of it there, but whatever we don't use, we'll haul on.
Okay. I do have a request or a suggestion. Is there any way that we could get a running track or a walking trail around the pond? 1/3 of that park is not being used. And that's the old, I think it's Simmons Road, isn't it? The old extension of Simmons Road.
Yeah.
Along the expressway, it's not being used for anything, and it's a great place to walk if we could extend it around the pond. Just a
That's
suggestion.
somewhat of a stone road that used to be access to the, you know, to the beach, you know, for an emergency. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of gated off there at the back corner. Yeah, you know, in future plans, you know, with the multi-use paths and such, you know, that might be a good addition.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It'd be a great place for it.
Yeah.
That's all I have. I'd like to compliment Greg and his guys for cleaning up the shelter house for the mess they make. And you know what? The last 2 times it's the same group, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where they're from. I don't think they're local, but
Well,
they really mess it up.
Well, we're going to pass that message on, Tony, to our police department and make sure they better patrol that. Thank you.
I look at the license plates, and most of them from Lucas County and outside of Wood County, so that tells us something. Anyway, Jessica, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much,
Thank
Tony.
you, Tony.
Thanks for your ownership of cleaning up trash.
I'm retired. I have nothing to do.
I will report that I didn't see any fish entrails at my park, and if I did, I would not have been able to clean those up. So, cool. I would have waited for a bird to help me. All right, so we've got Todd with Bicentennial.
Sure. So I'll kind of reiterate or back up Tony on his suggestion for the path around the pond. I've always thought it's kind of weird that the path just kind of ends there. It does seem like it would be really nice to be able to walk around that pond. On the whole issue with the gate at Woodlands, so that's like the 3 to 5 year old or less than 5 year old kid area. Those gates are weird because it's like the top hinge is a pin, I think, that fits into a hole, but the bottom hinge is like this fork that goes in and out of these open slots, and so it's almost like all the time off, at least halfway when I'm there.
Yeah, that's some type of automatic, to where it returns to the closed position, and I'm not quite sure they work as well as they were intended. So yeah, I might have to look into, redesigning that.
Yeah. As far as the comment on the pool heater, I don't know if that was said in jest or not, but if that's something that's actually going to be considered at some point, there's great access to solar energy on the roof of that pool building. There'd be a lot of free heat. It'd be probably a lot cheaper than an actual heater. But in any case, for Bicentennial, I sent out some photos. I just noticed it this last week that one of the kid swings chain is broken. It gets a little muddy underneath those two swings. The other two are kind of big kid swings have the rubber mats under them, so that stays a lot nicer. So if there's a couple extra of those available, it'd be good to get them under the kid swings. When the new bench was installed near the plastic play set, it was, I don't know what happened, but they kind of like dug a hole, I think, to put the pad in, the concrete pad in, and then they must have dug up some kind of roots under there, because then all of a sudden there are these roots sticking out of the mulch that were even like creating loops that you could get your foot caught under and create a tripping hazard. Just recently somebody trimmed those or clipped them off, but they're still sticking up 5-6 inches out of the ground, so it's still kind of a tripping hazard there.
Okay.
But that's right next to the new bench at Bicentennial. There's one of the planks in the fence that goes around the porta potties broken. I don't know if that's something that's can be addressed or not. And then the last couple of pictures I took were of the goals. I think I brought these up before, the soccer goals. One doesn't have a net, the other one does have a net, but it's in really bad shape. I think it was mentioned that Paisa is in charge of these. They're just, I don't think they really get used. I've never seen Paisa using them at all. The one is just kind of on its side and probably a little bit too close to the baseball field. In case anyone were to hit it far, it could be an issue. But I think they would be used if they had nets on them, but right now they just don't look great.
Okay. Yeah, some of those issues we did address today. Went out and got the swing back together, trimmed away them roots.
Okay.
I think when they did install the bench, they there's a like a weed barrier under that mulch, and I think because of the way they had to dig that out, they must have pulled up that weed guard, and the roots from those spruce trees are what's popping up there. So I did take a pruner to those. We'll keep an eye on those and take care of that as needed. The plank easily going to be replaced. I think we even have a couple extras on those, and the goals we'll take care of as well. The dirt was added there along the Mark Lane exit or entrance. We had a landscaper decide to drive through that dirt the day after we put it in there and had it all graded. So we know we have some more work to do there. Some no parking signs, along that edge as well. So hopefully that won't become a regular issue, so.
When you say, yeah, that's all great to hear. When you say you're going to take care of the soccer goals, what does that mean?
I know that, Greg, I can speak on that. I know we reached out to that group to see if they were still going to maintain or use them, and then if they decide they're not going to use them, we're probably going to remove them.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to be in the loop on that if possible. So my wife is a coach for the Perrysburg Soccer Club. They play at the 199 field, so I don't want them, like, I don't throw them away, so they could be used.
No, we wouldn't do that because we don't own them.
Yeah. So is it Pisa that owns them then?
Schools.
The schools do? Okay.
Somebody other than us, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you very much, Todd. And then Caleb's not here for the Rotary report out, but I frequently bike or run through Rotary. And if you missed the groundbreaking last week, it's on the Wood County Plays Facebook page. You can see a little video of Weatherman Ryan hosting the groundbreaking ceremony. And there's also the great trash bins in Rotary. Those look really nice, those stone ones. And in the awesome shelter house. So Rotary, if you haven't been to Rotary since last fall, zip over there and check it out. Okay, so Deborah, would you be able to give a very brief overview of the Recreation Committee, and we can give you some more time in our next meeting?
Okay, say, what did you say, Jessica? I heard.
Could you give like a brief Recreation Committee overview, and we can give you some more time in our next meeting.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, Jessica. I'd like to say that I attended the groundbreaking at the Inclusive Park in Rotary Park, and it's terrific. It's awesome. Also, thank you to the Rotary Club for putting up the pavilion that you all noticed there, which is a separate issue. I'm also pleased that the Inclusive Playground is in its final stages at Rotary Park, and that'll be terrific, and is terrific. And thank you, all of you, and those that are not with us this evening, for all that you do as Prac members with all the parks. And also, I don't want to leave out Greg and Rob Ross for all of the work that they do through the public service throughout the parks and their diligent efforts. It's much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Does anyone have anything for Deborah right now? Okay, and I did not record any action items. I gave an action recommendation to Aaron and Will to review the duties and bylaws of your newly elected position. I can do the same for mine. Heather, where did Heather go? Heather, did you have any other action items that you recorded? Okay, great. All right. So our next, oh, I should have had this ready. Sorry about that. Our next meeting.
May 3rd.
May 3rd. It'll be at Monday, May 3rd at 7 p.m. And we'll plan on Zoom for this one, so I'll contact Heather and Bridget, and I'll send out another Zoom meeting invite for us. Then if anyone has, oh yeah, go ahead, Will.
Question. When can we meet in person?
So as this is a volunteer group of people, I think that we could have at least the ability to call in remotely, because it doesn't make sense to me to put or to have anyone obliged to put themselves at any more risk than they're comfortable. So the plan will be for May, and then I can talk to Bridget, because we have May and June, and then July. So for May and June, it'll be virtual. I can talk with them to see if there's any kind of hybrid. like a in-person with inequality. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'd say the sooner the better. I think we should meet at the municipal building when we can. So, yeah, and probably too, I would recommend updating the website to show what month we're not going to be meeting in the summer. I think that's the September one. That's the September one.
July and September is what I have right
Okay.
here, that we have conflicts with the holidays and the other committee meetings.
Yeah. The website just has we're meeting the first Monday of the month, and it doesn't really say which months we're not meeting. So apart from like the winter. So.
Okay, I can talk to Heather about that outside of the meeting.
So it's on the city calendar actually. Like I know under Prac it might not list like,
yeah,
but the city calendar has it called out.
Okay.
For, but
I
let me
just
talk to our.
wonder if someone was to search for it. We just want to make it easy. So
let me talk to our we call her our PIO. Why is it drawing a blank? Our public information officer. She's had a large hand in our website and the revitalization of it. So let me chat with her. So sometimes when I like bring ideas to her, they might get shot down. So
that's okay.
Let me swing it by her first and see what she has to say. And then if she says go for it, I'll just add them to right under the Prac portion. But I get what you're saying. So let
or
me.
Even maybe you want to just link to the calendar. Just
that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think
spelled out in our charter.
The description from the city ordinance. Like, I think that's what's on the website, Heather, like the ordinance that we rewrote last year.
Oh, the link for.
Yeah, the bylaws are on there.
Yeah, I think it may be spelled out in that.
Okay. Anyone else have any other questions or issues or additional business or want to assign themselves or someone else an action item? Okay, good. And as previously mentioned, we'll see you all the first Monday in May. And if you have any issues in the interim, please feel free to email. And thank you for being here and have a nice night.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Heather.